Hello, everyone. Welcome to the sixth episode of the Lockdown Conversations, the show where we deconstruct the key fundamentals of what matters the most right now. And we interview the best in the business who are doing like great in their own fields. This place is to unite and inspire. I'm your co-host, Pratik Gandhi, and with me, as always, is Yogesh Gandhi.
Hello.
And today we will be uncovering the changing landscape of storytelling, editing, and filmmaking. And to talk on all about that, we've got four incredible speakers who have been doing it and inspiring so many people. So without further ado, let me introduce and to start with, let me introduce Nipun Dharmadhikari. Nipun is joining us
Hello.
from Pune. uh, I know almost everyone would be knowing Nipun, like on the panel and the attendees. But for those one or two people who don't know Nipun, he's I mean, like a national award-winning director, writer, and an author. Many of you would be knowing him through his stints at the Natak company, his own venture, which he started in 2008, if I'm not wrong, and Bharatiya Digital Party, aka Bhadipa, which I think is like the most popular Marathi YouTube channel. And yeah, he's acted in multiple movies. Very recently, his series has just come out once a year. That's amazing too. And just about an hour ago, I saw Nipun live with Rahul Deshpande, who's another amazing artist, classical singer based in Pune, where you guys were talking about your upcoming movie, Me Vasant Rao. So yeah, thank you for taking the time, Nipun. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pratik. Thank you, Yogesh.
Next up, we've got Shubham Gupta, who's joining us for the second time on Lockdown Conversations from New Delhi. Shubham is an award-winning mobile journalist and documentary filmmaker. He heads storytelling at Plug.tv, and he's one of the founding members at India's largest pollution storytelling platform, Let Me Breathe. At the age of just 23, and let me quote, he has trained more than 5,000 creators around India. His work has also been published, across different publications like Hindustan Times and Al Jazeera. So yeah, I mean, it's great to have you, Shubham. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and next is Soham Sabnis. Soham and I started a company back in 2013. He has been like an entrepreneur, photographer. He is like the jack of all trades. He's been consulting and working with like brands for the last 10 years, working on the digital side of things. He's also worked with almost 150 plus brands. He's the co-founder at Prose Publications, primarily working with new authors and like getting their books published and so on. And he also closely works with artists like chefs, doctors, to create their strong personal brands on video, which is also helping them generate revenue. So that's something that I'd like to understand as well on this show. Yeah. So thanks, Soham, for tuning in. Welcome.
Yep. Thanks, Pratik. Thanks, Yogesh.
Yep. And finally, we've got Varunraj Gandhi, who's joining us from Toronto. Varun and I have bin like family friends, if I can say, for like long time. And he's achieved so many things in his career. He's today the video editor and assistant editor, and he's done his MFA in film production from Chapman University in California. He's worked as a junior editor at Disney ABC Digital Media in LA. In India, he's worked as an editor for like promos of Rajnikant and Akshay Kumar movie. I'm sure most of you all know 2.0. And also he's worked as an editor for social media promos for the movie KGF Chapter 1. Currently, he works as a freelance editor and assistant editor on projects like feature documentaries, reality television, as well as branded content in Toronto. Varun was recently selected as a mentee in the Canadian Cinema Editors Mentorship Program of 2020. And yeah, he aspires to be a picture editor for films and TV. Varun, glad to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind words, Pratik.
Yeah. So yeah, essentially, yeah, we're talking about the changing landscape. Like I said, the change in the way we, as consumers, like are consuming content, and I mean, and it's pretty eminent. And being mindful of the fact that, like, what we are like facing in terms of the current situation, we are seeing that, like, that snowball effect coming in play. And the expression 15 minutes of fame by Andy Warhol is actually coming like really handy. And I would say it is also going beyond 15 minutes of fame, where I don't know, we'll see uh, like production houses coming, like amazing YouTube channels or editors coming out of this. Who knows? So yeah, I mean, I just and on the other side of the spectrum, we are also seeing citizen journalism coming in play, like as the fifth estate of the society, wherein we are seeing influencers come talk about things like decompose the truth in the media. And there have been instances in the past where we've seen that a lot from these people. So yeah, even that I think is I mean, I think that is very fascinating. This whole world of creating versus doing or like consuming. And this yeah, we just want to deconstruct that today. So yeah, my first question is to Nipun. How are you seeing this? Like, how are you coping up with this change? How is the industry coping up with this change? And yeah, what things you've changed, I mean, seen in the past few months, and obviously the changing landscape of media.
Well, firstly, I think we are yet to cope up. We are still in a way in a state of shock. I think this industry,
Mhm.
and that is also because mostly nobody knows what is in store in the future. Because the thing is that now people have started using the terms essential services, non-essential services pretty freely, and people in this industry have started realizing that they are probably the least essentials when it comes to everyday living. So that is why entertainment industry as a whole, I think
Yeah.
it will be the last to start off once we are free from this fear of COVID first and then later COVID. So the thing is that everybody is taking it one day at a time. We can see most of them have started, many of them have started their own YouTube channels. If you are on Instagram, between 5 to 7, so many of them are live. Some people come live
Yes.
every day. A production house in Pune, they have immediately, once they understood that there is going to be a long lockdown, what they did was that the next day they had started something like an entertainment program wherein which is not too different than what we are doing right now. Only main purpose there is of
Mm-hmm.
entertainment, wherein they get 2 3 people on one screen, and there is one host, and he keeps asking them questions, and they perform something, etc., etc. So people are trying something for sure, but at the same time, I'm not sure about the monies, how the economy is playing with this, because in a way everything has come to a standstill. So a few writers are getting, I mean, they're getting some time to work on new projects. So maybe they've got their advance for that. But apart from that, the industry as a whole, I think it's not a very good side. I'm sorry, I'm taking so much time. I just need a minute more for this. But it's just that right now, also when I say the industry, it is mainly people who have access to things like Zoom, and people who are sitting all over the world today, and we can sit and communicate. I'm also
Yeah.
part of a group. I had started with theater, and I am in a way associated right now with how the backstage workers are rehabilitating themselves, and that
Yeah.
is not a pretty sight. So I think we are a long way ahead from normal right now.
Nipun, when you say that entertainment is perhaps the most non-essential sort of, that's the way people are looking at it. But then do you also
Yeah.
think that if that thinking were to continue for a long time, it's actually to the detriment of the society, because what can keep people's morale up during these challenging times is actually healthy dose
Yeah.
of entertainment, good humor in that sense. How do you look at
Yeah,
how do you look
absolutely.
at it?
I mean, in these times, everybody is resorting to OTT platforms. Everybody is watching new stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard the other day that some 16 million. So people have started subscribing to all these OTT platforms, and they have resorted to entertainment to get themselves new stuff come out. I'm sure. I mean, if I were to
Nipun,
watch
where
everything that is on Netflix, I'm sure that could take years. Sorry, can you hear me?
we lost you while you were explaining that. The connection seems
Oh,
to be
sorry.
slightly.
So, oh, sorry. I mean, I've not done anything else, but still, am I audible right now?
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
good.
you're audible.
Yeah, okay. So the thing is that everybody has resorted to entertainment right now, but there has to be new content that comes in, and for the new content to come in, people will have to come together. So
Hmm.
so yeah, and at this, I mean, so I'm just waiting for this to get over pretty soon, so that we can get back on the field and start working.
So within that sort of limited spectrum, right? And you know that things can't forever be sort of put off by 3 months, 6 months that way. What are the things you found that you could still sort of get done and deliver?
Well, one thing is writing for sure. It took a long time to write. There were a few concepts that I had thought about, and I was thinking that I'll work on it when I have the time, and suddenly I have a
Right.
lot of time. So, worked on a few concepts. And But that is the most. Of course, I mean, if I were a YouTube creator like Prajakta
Oh, yeah.
is, or so many others are, and they are doing something online which is extremely good. Or this channel Bhadipa that you mentioned,
Yes.
when the lockdown was announced, it was for 21 days at the beginning. So immediately what they did was they announced that they would release one video every day. So they made it a point to make videos sitting at home and with whatever resources they had at hand, and they even use Zoom to create a parody video and they put it up, etc., etc. So people are trying to use whatever resources they have at hand and create something which is
Hmm.
amazing. And of course, I mean, Zafar Panahi made a film by sitting at home, and but that was for different reasons. But if if pushed in a corner, I'm sure he can do a lot of things. But I think we can do a lot better after if we are outside.
Hmm.
Right. So, can I add something, Yogesh?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, as Nipun mentioned, there are various channels and various groups stepping up and creating content. So he mentioned the large groups. Plus, I know few people who are daily putting up fitness videos, not just the celebs, but people like
Yeah.
us who are doing great stuff. You guys are doing great in terms of lockdown conversations. This is a new thing which probably wouldn't have started if we were never in a lockdown.
Yeah.
So
True.
I
You're
think
right.
that's a good
Absolutely.
opportunity for us to get together and speak about different subjects. Uh, we as in when I say we, Prose Publications, we do a small gathering of authors and poets called as Sahitya Katta, and
Hmm.
we used to do it every month. Before the lockdown, we used to meet up, chai vada pav, and discuss some stories. But now we are doing Kavita Mandal on Skype. So
Right.
we did 3 episodes where 4 or 5 poets come together. There's a small topic and we recite. I personally don't recite poems, but I am kind of managing the Skype and recording part. So these type of activities are bringing in good content, And another positive side that I see is of all age groups, people are kind of chipping in. So I was zapped to see my father asking me about Zoom and how to operate it, because that wouldn't have been the case ever. And
Mm,
I was happy to help him to download Zoom and get on some video call. So that this is also a nice thing that is helping the creators, because people are looking at YouTube from a different perspective along with entertainment. So that is
right.
nice.
Yeah. I mean, with that in mind, I'd like to kind of like segue into like editing bit, like and I'd like to bring Varun here. How has things changed in the past few months with editing and like the projects that you're working right now, and like where do you see this going?
Well, the irony of the situation is that right now people have a lot of time to watch, but new content is it's getting difficult to create new content. As far as my workflow goes, it's been tough. Everybody's adapting. Editors, fortunately, we can work from home. We don't have to be on the field all the time. So it's something that we can keep doing, but it can only continue until somebody's shooting out there, right? So currently,
Mm,
most of the projects that I'm working on are things that have already been shot. Um, so something in preparation, like documentaries sometimes are being shot over a period of year, like many years, many months, they're being prepped and shot. So stuff like that is happening. But there was a reality show I was working on which had to stop, and it won't return until production resumes. And even when production resumes, how, in what scale it will resume, we don't know yet, because it all depends on how everybody recovers from the situation, what laws are in place in each respective. Like, for example, the show I was working on, though I'm based in Canada, it was a show in the US. It was shot in the US. The office is based here. So it's all very complicated to answer this. Depends on company to company what kind of content is being made. So it's a lot of wait and watch, to be honest. But it's a good time to learn, because learning cannot stop. We have to keep learning until the last breath of our lives. And this is a really good time to learn. We have all made to-do lists and things to add to our skill sets. So this is a good time to do that, and especially when it comes to editing, because nowadays the scene is getting very competitive in terms of what skill sets you can have, plus the creativity you can show, and also storytelling is very. I mean, it's a very dynamic skill. So the more you read, the more you watch, the more you can express. The way more ways you can find ways to express yourselves. It's great. So a period of lockdown is good in that way. Financially, not so much. But hopefully, it's a good thing. That's, I mean, of course there are a lot of disadvantages, but there are a lot of positives that are coming out. And once this is all over, I think it'll all add to the common creativity of everybody.
Yeah. So, Varun and Nipun, I would like to ask you this, which is, uh, I've been thinking on this when we say storytelling, and we have always been, from a marketing point of view, also, we are saying that content is the king, and, content, what crux you are trying to tell is more important. And with the production quality being kind of compromised in these situations, how do you guys
correct.
look at that, and how, like, is the audience also now adjusting to not so good video quality of YouTube, but or any type of videos, because they are shot on some basic DSLRs or even on your phone? I'm not saying the quality is bad, but from a quality that you guys are kind of used to, even in terms of putting out the content, how do you see people responding to it, and how do you actually are responding to maintaining the quality or compromising it?
You want to take this one, or
I mean, you can add on after me probably. Well, when we are used to a production value, a production quality in terms of movies, in terms of big shows or a movie, we have always had that resource watching it in the theaters or on Netflix or whatever. But there's some a particular kind of content that can be only watched and consumed on YouTube and on social media, and that content cannot be replaced by films and cinema. and that kind of content is also diverse in terms of the production scale. Like Bhadipa, the production quality is great, but then I mean it all depends on what the viewer is looking for. If that can be provided by somebody who is making a selfie kind of video, if that content can be provided, then it's fine. As long as there
Yeah.
is a target audience and that the demand is being met, then the quality is important. But as long as both the factors are getting meeting each other, then it's fine, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's my short and sweet answer to that. But Nipun, please feel
No,
free
no,
to.
I completely agree with you, Varun, here, because the thing is that when you're watching a YouTube video, I think the audience has in mind what to expect.
Mm.
But if they see probably the same kind of quality on, say, a Netflix show or in the theaters, I'm sure they would say they're not getting their money's worth.
Oh yeah.
So I think, and even having said this, that is the only content that is coming out right now that is shot in homes, that is put up on YouTube or on people's personal
Yeah.
pages wherever they are, on Facebook or on Instagram. So
Right.
in a way, they are mentally conditioned, the people, that they know what to expect. So yeah, I agree with Varun, whatever he said.
Yeah, because that is more comforting for common people, is because that's the biggest apprehension that many people have, that my
Yeah,
quality is not good, my production quality is not good, so I
yeah,
may not put content on the pages, which is fine right now. So everybody can
yeah,
ideally take a shot at creating content and spending more time. Just drawing to what Nipun said in the in your initial talk, where since people have time, or since actors or even production guys have time, it's
yeah,
a good time for you guys to kind of spend more time on branding your
Yeah.
personal pages or your work uh,
yeah.
through
Or,
storytelling, obviously.
or yeah, or you can invest in something that you'll do in the future. I mean,
Precisely.
I know a few friends of mine right now who are actors and who are
Mm.
missing the spotlight so much because I mean, and it's normal. I mean,
Yeah,
this lockdown does play on you mentally as well. So you
precisely.
are so used to being in the spotlight. You're so used to being outside, people coming around you, asking for selfies and stuff. And your work coming out, you going and working outside, that work being published, being released, and people appreciating whatever is happening. That they are getting a little finicky now. But I mean, I am trying to have a word with them that it is okay. This is a temporary phase, and you
Yeah.
may think of investing all this time in yourself. Maybe read something more. There are so many actors who have found projects for themselves. I mean, Rocky being a very great example, and there have been many such
Mm-hmm.
examples.
Right.
But I mean, I just think that it is okay to be in the back seat for some time. It is in a way the nature that has forced you to be in the back seat right now, and not just you. It's going on with everybody. So it's okay. You can take a step back, and you can probably focus more on yourself, check more on your diet, exercise more, and be in a good space mentally, so that when
Mm.
all this is over, when you are out of this, you are. I mean, this is such a rare event what we are experiencing right now. If it doesn't change all of us fundamentally, then something is very wrong with all of us. Is what I feel.
True. No, that's a valid point here. I totally agree. I mean, keeping in mind as to like how it can better us is something that we need to keep, yeah, in check basically.
Yeah.
So,
I'd like to get, sorry, you.
yeah, I just wanted to kind of add a question to what Nipun was actually saying, that he's having conversation with people, actually giving them a bit of comfort that when we come out of this, we'll come out of it better prepared and things. Who do you think is actually responding to this situation brilliantly, like really great examples in this time?
um I mean, there are so many of them right now. I mean, there are two sides of the coin, but Amaya, I think, is doing a fair job. Amaya Wag, my good friend, is doing a fair
Mm-hmm.
job. I've been following Virat Kohli, but I always felt Virat Kohli is a great example of anything. I mean, he's like, how can anyone be so perfect? So yeah, so he is one such example, and I mean, I don't see a lot of Shah Rukh Khan right now, even on social
Yeah.
media. So maybe, I don't know, maybe he's thinking about the same thing right now. I don't know. I mean, these are just examples from top of my mind, and there are so many people who are responding to it positively.
I think the busiest person of all of us right now is Shubham.
Shubham.
Uh,
Hmm.
with
Yeah.
all the like breaking news and stuff that he's pushing. So how are things, Shubham? Like how is it like building things in these times?
Yeah, as Nipun said, that entertainment is the last basic essential, but the news is what is happening is we guys are super busy right now. A lot of thing is happening. We have a lot of limitation at the same time. A lot of thing is happening, and a lot of expectation is there that people are trying to watch news and trying to figure out what is going to happen, what is the solution, and there's a lot of anxiety out there. But at the same time, there is anxiety in news media also because we are not getting money. So if you
Hmm.
have seen that a lot of news channels are laying off, a lot of like anxiety is happening to reporters also because they are not getting paid.
Wow.
Many big news organizations which are digital, their half staffs are like just the news organizers told them take a 2 month vacation. So a lot of bad news happening at that front, but at the same time, a lot of good thing is happening on the ground, that how citizens are reporting news at the same time
Hmm.
and trying to basically what we have seen in the last 2 years. What we are trying to do is to train citizens to tell the news, because the way news is running in our country or any other country is that which is the thing which is hot on social media goes at the top priority for the prime time. If you see, if anything is happening top at the social media right now, that thing will go on prime time and then action will taken.
Yeah.
So yeah, so what we are trying to do right now is trying to get as many as reports from citizens, and we're trying to train them at the same time and trying to innovate that how they can tell their stories in a very fact check manner, because a lot of news which is creating a lot of panic in people. Like suppose in the starting, panic buying was one of the like major concern which happened in metro cities. A lot of things has happened there. We saw that citizens started reporting, okay, wait, a lot of stock is there, don't panic. The small thing which is happening is changing a lot of thing. At the same time, what we have seen that we have got footage from migrant laborers, that how they're stuck, what is
Hmm.
happening to their life. And when we curated that stories, we saw impact in policies that
Hmm.
government, which like at least the state governments try to help them.
Nice.
I just
So
want to quickly add on what. Oh, once Shubham is done, I want to add quickly on that. If you're done.
yeah.
Well, first of all, I did not know about your platform until Pratik mentioned, and then I looked up some of the stuff that you guys have been coming up with. First of all, I want to congratulate you for starting something like this at such a young age. It's quite amazing.
Yeah.
And what I also wanted to add was that, like, the concept is really interesting, and I don't know how many people are doing this. Honestly, maybe it's just part of lack of my knowledge, but like back in the day, I mean, I've not read Times of India in a while now, being in Canada. But last time I read, I know that there was a column that Times of India ran called Citizen Reporter or something like that. Probably
Yeah.
they run even today. I don't know. But the scope of it was so limited. But with now the power of social media and YouTube and internet, what you are doing with that concept is great, and it has a potential of reaching a lot of people, and a lot of unheard stories being told
Yeah.
uh, is what we can predict for this platform. Is so I wish all the best man with that.
Yeah, I think the power of mobile is coming because what happens in last 2 years because of Geo and because of the smartphones, which are the cost is going so less. So what we have seen, the people whose side never came on front, like farmers, waste pickers, or people who are living at the second tier, third tier cities from villages, their voices never came at the same and the at the every front, not on the news only, but entertainment also. Now, if you see TikTok.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't know how you guys see TikTok, but in the last 6 months, we are working closely on TikTok, and what we have seen that content, the cringeworthy content is changed to a lot of cringeworthy content is turning into education content, and a lot of people are gaining education from TikTok because it's a platform where people are getting quick information. So what we have also tried to do is we have trained TikTok creators to create content which can be useful for a lot of people. So what in the time of crisis, like Nipun told, in the time of crisis, if you say in the entertainment industry, which are playing a very good role, not of Salman Khan's, not of Shah Rukh Khan's are coming from, but a lot of influencers who are on social media are playing a great role to at least disseminate the information, not creating a like basically a basic information, and a lot of anxiety which is happening in a country like India, where a rumor can just flip, like change everything. A lot of these influencers are changing a lot of things. A lot of good positive work is happening from that front.
Shubham, so for our attendees, do you have like five pointers or like tips to do or keep in mind so that they can kind of report the news in a better way? Because we'll have to look at keeping aside the fake part and the authenticity of the news intact. So
Swam. So what we try to do is we don't tend to report news, because it's not their job to report news. It's journalists' role to report news and thing. And reporting news is a difficult thing. What we teach them, or what we recommended to tell their story, what is happening in their locality, what is happening in. Suppose if someone is expert in mental health,
perfect.
they can tell what is happening right now in mental health. Same with scientists reporting. So what we are doing with health worker right now, so the health worker reporting on fake news which is going around on related to health. If a health worker is telling a story about health fake news, then it has more impact than a journalist.
Correct.
But then you will say, what is the role of journalist? The role of journalist is now to curate all this content and disseminate in a form where, so a health worker, any health worker can tell anything, but a journalist's role is to get fact check, get, okay, what's the source, what is the thing, okay, what's the credential, and then curate all of these stories and disseminate content, which we all are seeing on the big news channels also. They are also doing the same thing, if you see. So the role of journalists has changed a lot. So the tip, if you are asking, anyone asking?
I think in a way I could say that, you know, it's basically a micro picture that you guys are painting through citizen storytelling, and then the journalist can actually do the macro picture, you know,
Yes, exactly.
linking all of those stories together to actually come up with a broad narrative. So I think that's a fine example.
Yeah, I mean, one example that I can think of is of Balaji Srinivasan. Balaji is like a known VC in the Silicon Valley, and he was the one who was actually talking about COVID-19 right from mid-Jan onwards, and he was like strongly like saying, okay, this is something that is happening in China. We guys need to kind of be careful, and he was also sharing like a lot of data points across that. So now when people are talking about with what we have seen, people are actually praising or like looking at what Balaji broke at that time as a different like journalism thing. So I think that's something that has come up, and I think with like such events happening in the future, we will see more such people coming out.
Yeah, similarly, many influencer podcasters are bringing in top talented guys from the industry and from medical fraternity, so that their audience is well aware and they get correct information, which is a very good role in terms of reaching out to people since they have built their audience. Like
That's great.
Tim Ferriss or Joe
Sorry.
Rogan. Yeah, Joe Rogan or Tim Ferriss, they are just bringing in good people, and they are sharing good knowledge and authentic knowledge with their community, which is huge. I mean, it boils down to that as well.
No, I mean, it also comes down to personal stories. And I think, Nipun, you were in the US, you came back. I mean, during the lockdown, I think it was like at the brink of the thing, and you did like a good session. Do you want to talk about that?
I mean, it was quite a scare. I mean, because we were in the US for the shows of our play, Amar Photo Studio, so it was quite a huge team that had gone there. Huge, I mean, for us, it was quite a huge team. There were 10 people over there. And we had a tour planned for nearly a month and 5 days. And right after the third day, our entire tour was cancelled. So, I mean, out of the 14 shows, we could only do 3 shows. And and at that time, very honestly, while we were going there, yes, we had heard of COVID. Yes, we had heard that it was something that had originated in China. It is spreading everywhere. But there was no global fear like there is right now. It was okay. Things were okay. Flights were moving. People were traveling. And we took all our precautions and we went there. And suddenly like the pandemic itself, the virus itself, everything just spread rapidly. All these suddenly things started changing overnight, and just in one day, in all of the US, all of the states, they started declaring emergencies and whatnot. So most of us decided to come back, and my elder brother stays there. My parents were there. We hadn't had a family time for nearly 4 5 years, so we decided that we'll visit him in Atlanta and then go back to India. And even at that time, it wasn't so serious. Things were still okay. Just public gatherings weren't allowed. So I visited him, and then we had this notification from India, wherein the all the flights, international flights from the 22nd of March were banned, and this was on the 19th of March in the US. So it was like the 20th of March in India. So what we did was we had a ticket for 5 days later, but we just took our bags, we went to the airport, and we told him, see, we won't be able to fly on the 25th. So if you could please accommodate us on a flight today, that'll be great. And because we went there to the airport with our bags, I think we even those guys took us seriously, and they accommodated us in a flight. And I mean, I'm just breaking a long story short. There were many things that happened in there, but still. But the thing is that we got back, and I was extremely pleasantly surprised with the way the Indian government was handling all of that at that point of time, wherein at the airports they were regularly checking each and every person for temperature. They were creating a database of people who had come, and they were escorting all the passengers up to the point they sat in the cabs or the cars that had come for them. And I mean, it was just brilliant to watch, because of this tour, we had been in Germany, we had been in Qatar, we had been in the US, in 4 5 cities in the US, and nowhere was anyone taking such kind of precautions. And India was actually at the forefront, and they were taking a lot of precautions, and they were really very serious with whatever is happening. Once we came home, I mean, this was on the international airport. When we came home, the local municipal corporation, they had received the data. They still call us today. It's been more than a month that we have returned, but we still get calls today, every day, from the Pune Municipal Corporation. And this very kind lady, she asks us about our health, whether we are fine. It's a 10-second call, but it's a good conversation that we have, because we've started knowing each other now. So this is the kind of experience that I mean, this is what I experienced when I returned. And it was like immediately after I returned, there was this a call for appreciating all our doctors by our prime minister, and we were supposed to go on the balcony and clap. And then there were these videos wherein people just came out and they were dancing like India had won the World Cup. And it was so frustrating that I wrote a long piece on all my social media handles explaining my experience with all the Indian authorities and how good it has been in comparison to all these developed nations in the world, and how this was pathetic that the Indians are out dancing in the streets when clearly you're supposed to stay at home. And that went really viral, and even I was surprised, because most people didn't know that these were the things that the Indian government was doing, the administration was doing. And I mean, before I knew it, it was like shared by 500 people, and it had reached nearly 1 lakh people. So it was
I saw the video that you guys did.
it was quite something. So yeah.
Do you think a lockdown like this could actually inspire a story of some nature, maybe a movie, maybe some other
I
format?
am very sure. I am
Lot of
very
things
sure
can.
that all filmmakers
All right.
are thinking about this and are writing something about it. So the first one who makes a good movie from this is going to emerge. But this is something like the kind of thing that nearly 15 to 20 years ago in movies, World War II was a phenomenon that you couldn't
Yeah.
get out of. I mean, in films, this was a phenomenon completely. Then the Iraq War happened, and suddenly you saw an influx of all those films. I am very sure that this is now something that is so that is going to be so it's going to be a permanent part of our subconscious. That whenever somebody is trying to tell a story, I think this will in some way resonate in the story. I mean, it can be a subplot in the story, or it can be an entire movie based on this plot. But in some way or the other, it is going to change how people tell stories.
I just want to quickly add
Definitely.
something that I just remembered,
Yeah.
because he was talking about how
Yeah.
this whole phase of our life is going to reflect in our future. There was a movie that came out probably a year ago. It's just nothing related to COVID, but it was if you've seen that actor from Harlan Kumar series, he was in it, and the movie was about him searching for his lost daughter, I believe, and the entire movie happened on a computer screen.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Chasing. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I remember. I also forgot the name of the movie,
It's
but the
directed by
entire
the
thing
Indian
happened.
origin person.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So, I mean, this is fascinating. I mean, who knows what kind of things are happening right now in lockdown for people who are probably most of the time spending on the computers, and
Yeah,
kind of inspirations people could get. But if they could make an entire movie that lasted on a computer screen, I'm sure we could have something of that scope, in the future,
Totally.
yeah.
inspired from.
Was it Unfriended or?
No, no, no. Searching.
Searching.
I think probably, yeah, something like
Searching.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll put the links in the show notes. Yeah, whenever we are like,
It's a wonderful film.
nice.
Yeah, a lot of like right now ads and movies and some short pieces are like what is happening right now is like actors basically actors are doing lights and everything and trying to shoot, and the producers and the lightmen are on Skype call and guiding them to okay, do this. So a lot of things is happening like this
There
right
are
now.
FaceTime photo shoots that have started.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
a friend of
it,
mine couldn't attend an interview like this because she had scheduled a FaceTime photo shoot.
yeah.
Because
Oh,
Nice.
yeah,
so nice. So I mean, with all of this in mind, what will you guys share with like someone who's like super new, who's super enthused about getting into this field? And Nipun, I've seen your TEDx video as well. You're talking about your struggle, like right from the childhood to like getting into the industry, even like after getting into the industry. So do you want to walk us through that, like in brief?
I think nothing that has happened because of COVID is going to
Yeah, yeah.
change the struggle
Correct.
that you will have to go
Yeah.
through to be a part of this industry. I mean, it's. I think you just have to be patient. Is all I feel. That's the key. You have to be patient and you have to be dedicated, and everything else is luck.
Yeah, I mean, you say that like,
So since somebody has already suffered the multiple lockdowns, I think that person will come out more patient after
Yeah,
the
yeah,
lockdown.
yeah.
So,
I'm sure.
but I think the other day I was listening to Mithila Palkar, and she said, there's no substitute to hard work. And she said, even
Yeah.
till this date, I attend every audition that I can because you just don't know. And as much as it is important for you to kind of, become famous and reach a certain height, after that, if you become complacent, then you don't have much of a way forward. And I think the kind of competitive environment we all live in today, there's really no substitute to that every opportunity you can find, every audition, you know so just being visible in one way or other, I think.
A
Yeah.
friend of mine said something very similar. She said, there is no substitute to experience. And it ties into what you were saying. Basically, until you experience certain things, you won't know what is right for you and how to proceed. Especially when you're new. That's I think that coming back to your question, Pratik. I think it was all about how you want to, especially if you want to talk about making content or editing content. And I would say we are living in an amazing period of time where, keeping COVID aside, keeping the situation aside, we're living in a great time where great softwares, great learning platforms are very easily available to us. And I mean, so it's very much just a click of a button, to be honest. But yes, along with a lot of when you access free content, there's a lot of crap that also comes along with it, and you have to be smart enough to figure out and understand what is useful here, what you should not fall prey to. And for that, and to engage and help people with that kind of conversation, that's why I think lockdown conversations and what you're doing here, I think it's pretty useful.
I think one tip that can be useful is, instead of looking for free content, look for a decently priced content which covers what all you want to learn. Is because once you pay the money, the chances of you completing the course is also high.
Yes.
So you'll tend to learn and practice more in that case. And another part which I would like to add to what Varun said is, uh, yes, you will get content on every damn thing that you want to learn. And at the same time, if you want to create a course for any content that you wish to teach, there will be an audience. So, that's like a cycle that will run through, and that is extremely nice. Yesterday, I saw a course on Teachable which is talking about goats. Like, I had never imagined a course with 6,000 plus students who have taken the course on everything about goats, which is like an remotest idea that anyone can think of. But the course creator is earning six-figure uh, numbers on the course every year, which is a great thing for any content creator as well. Like, if you want to do something or create content in your niche, you can always go ahead and do that, and that's a good positive energy for content creators, I believe.
So
Yeah, go ahead. Based on what he was saying, I just want to add. Yesterday, I just read this that if you guys have heard of the platform Udemy, is that right?
Yes.
Udemy, right? Udemy online course enrollment surged 425% amid lockdowns.
Yes, but to add to that, only 5% people usually complete their courses. That's staggering negative number.
Yeah, but to tie into your point about people who can post their course material online, you probably cannot get your own. Yeah, I mean, Udemy is great for that, and you can see that the numbers are rising.
Yeah, and
I have recently helped around 8 or 9 people to create courses on Udemy, and their own courses. So that is pretty good. I mean, people are stepping up and making some structures, and trying to shoot some videos with their phones, and using some simpler editing softwares. Maybe Varun can help us with a couple of softwares which are easy to use, and people can gain value out of those softwares, and not that expensive. Like, don't throw in a Premiere or a FCP in it. So
Well,
maybe
there is
simple. Yeah.
there is good news and bad news when it comes to that, because the fascinating thing is that right now we are living in such a time where one of the most amazing and extremely powerful softwares is absolutely free. If I don't know if you've heard, or probably you don't use it much, but if somebody wants to get into editing, or not just editing, things like sound design, music production, or probably color correction, color grading, these are all allied professions in a way, which come under the umbrella of post production. You can do all of that in a software called DaVinci Resolve. It's a product made by Blackmagic Design, and it's free. It's completely free.
Nice.
And you can do even visual effects in that, visual effects and motion graphics, and you don't have to pay a single buck for that.
Yeah, that's a very good software. Thanks, Varun, for reminding it.
Yeah, and not
Similarly for audio is Audacity. I mean, I like Audacity as well. Very
sure,
simple
sure. And,
for people who want to mix audio. Not very sophisticated, but it's definitely better than Kam Chalao.
right. And one of the leading softwares which is used in the film industry for editing, film and TV industry, is Avid Media Composer.
Yeah.
And now Avid Media Composer, past couple of years, they have their own free version also called Avid Media Composer First. For somebody who wants to eventually get into the mainstream film and television side of things, they can start with this one. In the event, like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, nobody imagined that these expensive softwares, newcomers would have access to them, let alone free access to them.
Yeah,
So it's great.
and free resources are great YouTube videos of the tutorials. So learning is also fairly easy now.
Yeah.
Because
And
whatever smaller things I do, I just looked at videos and took a shot at it. I'm not very great at editing, but that helps.
right. And
Yeah,
just to add one last point to that, since we are talking about softwares, for somebody who is out in the field, and I'm talking about once this is all is over, of course, somebody who's out in the field shooting, or maybe on the phone shooting something, but wants to edit quickly, send it to the client. There are two things here. There's a software introduced by Adobe called Premiere Rush, which is like a Premiere Pro software, but for iPads and tablets and stuff like that. So another thing I wanted to tie in, because somebody earlier, I think it was Soham only mentioned about Geo. Somebody mentioned, no, Shubham mentioned about Geo probably. So what I've noticed in the past couple of years with what Geo has done is that I mean, having living in Canada, I know that data rates are the cheapest in India right now, as far as I know.
Yeah.
And that's incredible. I mean, I get 4 or 5 GB here per month, whereas in India you can get up to 1 or 2 GB, 3 GB per day.
Yeah.
And it's that's something I really miss about India, being in India right now. So imagine you're shooting outside, you're editing on the go probably, so you can quickly come up with a basic version on a tablet or iPad or something like that, and send it with your 4G connection to your client, or you can even publish it online if your content is ready. This is amazing, something we had not seen 4 or 5 years ago in India at least.
I think that's one of the reasons we've also seen, and Shubham touched upon that platform, TikTok rise in India. TikTok currently has about 200 million active users. That's insane, like for any country, and the kind of creators that are coming. So there's this beautiful case study. Like Kylie Jenner, she's like the top rated influencer in the world at this point, and like billionaire influencer, whatever. And she started making money like with makeup products and stuff. And there's this guy in India called, like, I don't know his exact handle. His name is Faizu. Now this Faizu guy, Faisal, yeah. So he's an influencer on TikTok from India, and he sold like an entire range of products through TikTok, and he's making insane amount of money as well, like with all what's going on. So yeah, I mean, I think the internet landscape in India is completely has completely changed with what Geo has done.
Yeah.
From the last 6 months, I was making a documentary about why TikTok is so big in India and what is happening. So if you go anywhere in like supposing you go in Mumbai, in Juhu, or I think in Pune somewhere, some famous like Shivaji Park, somewhere there. If you just go on Sunday when the lockdowns earlier, you will see like in Delhi at least 100-200 young kids making TikTok videos in groups. And when we ask them and go into why are you making this TikTok video, so the thing is they are not making just to earn money or it's for entertainment or views. It's a trend, just like in my times it was a trend to play the games, arcade games. Now TikTok is new reality. Like the people, it might be a new thing for us, but for the generation from 12 to 18, it's not it's a trend to make. it's a normal thing to make TikTok videos. It's a fun thing to make TikTok videos, because at that time they can go outside, they can create thing, and they make in groups and they create content. And Facebook is an ideal, it's one of the biggest content creator right now in India on TikTok.
Shubham, and also on TikTok, you can see a varied age group doing awesome stuff.
Yeah.
So there are some videos where even like dad and the son are coming together and making awesome videos. So that is also nice. And like uncles and aunties dancing on Bollywood or Marathi songs is really fun. I mean,
But
along with
I'd like to get a industry perspective here, Nipun.
yeah, I was about to
I
ask
think
Nipun the same thing.
How are you guys?
everyone from industry is on TikTok.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pratik, I didn't get your question.
Yeah. So how are you guys? Are you guys adapting to TikTok kind of a content? I've seen some like good amount of celebrities as well adopt. But like, how are you guys taking it?
Well, very honestly, I'm not on TikTok, and I am probably I'm not there because I know if once the moment I go there, I'll lose a lot of my time in doing all these videos, which and I might lose focus of what I really want to do, because these new avenues are such like when you are on YouTube and you see YouTube creators doing something. The beauty of their videos and their content is that you feel as if अरे ये तो कोई भी कर सकता है, even I can do this, and many people start doing, and it is not that easy. It is very difficult, and it is also very difficult to be so consistent. They are very consistent, and they are also consistent with their quality. Now the thing is, there has been a point of time in my life wherein I was mulling over because it is fame. You're looking at fame and money right in the face with this. But I had to, in a way, convince myself that this is not what you want to do in life. You will just lose focus. Your focus in life is to write and to direct something, and this is what you should do. Otherwise, I know this to be very addictive, and I can see that how I am with Instagram right now. I mean, first it was Orkut, then it was Facebook, and there was Twitter somewhere there. Now it's Instagram, and if there is an addition to that, I think somebody will need to pay me money just to watch all of this. And there's also Netflix and Amazon Prime, so there's so much content. It just would be great if somebody just paid money.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Soham.
Maybe we can. Yeah, just to add to what Nipun said, it's absolutely right. But at the same time, for brands or people, especially who are in the front of camera, like actors or even smaller brands for that matter, why TikTok becomes essential is because leave aside the first time content creators, they are big and they have time, and probably that is their focus to make really creative TikTok videos and gain followers. But for brands right now, the eyeballs are on TikTok. So I have a couple of clients who I have forced them to be on TikTok. So there's a friend called who's doing calligraphy. So I've made him do calligraphy on TikTok, wherein he doesn't have to even be there on camera. He just has to cut the videos in the TikTok format and paste it with a trending song. But that has helped his YouTube channel gain a lot of views, and which is a good thing to keep in mind if you are looking at promoting your content or enhancing your storytelling. But 100 marks to what Nipun said, and I believe it that too. But due to lockdown, I have been consuming a lot of content on TikTok, and it's killing me. And I keep sharing awesome videos from rural parts of Maharashtra where people do funny stuff with Marathi jokes and stuff like that, and it makes me laugh a lot.
No, so I'm going to ask a question related to that. Have some of these?
I'm sorry, I think Shubham wants to say something.
Yeah, just one point. I think if we say that TikTok is not a platform, so earlier what used to happen that only 1% of like entertainer or 1% of people have their voices on like big screens, like celebrities. And I think TikTok is not for celebrities and not for actors and not for people who are working on like big screens. TikTok is for 99% people who are not on screens. This platform is not for celebrities. This platform is for people who are in a small village in Maharashtra and wants to just create content just for himself, because Bollywood is so crazy. Just like anyone can play cricket, anyone can create content, and it is not a thing. I think 99% is the thing. Like, yeah.
That's good insight. Yeah.
And
Let me ask
that's the reason why celebrities are using that platform, Shubham,
Yeah.
to make your point
Yeah.
stronger, because the eyeballs are there right now. Because what Instagram was, or probably what Facebook was 2 years ago, TikTok is on. Snapchat kind of made in a small entry in
Yeah.
the content creation, but somehow it has died, and TikTok probably has really done a
yeah.
TikTok to Snapchat.
Yeah.
But, okay, question, on this. So I did hear you guys speaking about the 99%. I also heard about celebrities being on TikTok because that's where the eyeballs really are. The question is really in terms of, can a channel like TikTok throw a talent and help somebody actually get discovered?
Yeah,
I
it
think
is
it is
already
doing it.
happening.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
is.
is
It is
already
happening.
Happening. Yeah.
it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
There are sorry,
please
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Not just talent, but also if you see in TikTok, if you go right now and you will say a Marathi song is going popular and the content creation is happening from Assam. So earlier, the
Yes.
regional dialogues, regional music was not a thing for, like, Rajasthani song cannot go viral in Kerala earlier, but now because of
Well said.
TikTok, a Rajasthani song can go viral in Kerala, because that's why, because we have seen a lot of South movies are going popular. Why? Because people are saying, okay, this dialogue is popular, let me see which movie is this, and then they go South movies.
Correct.
No,
So
it's basically lowered the barrier of self-expression, like
yes,
I don't know, by a lot of fractions.
yeah,
So
it is changing a lot of things, but again, I will say it is a platform for 99%, not for 1%.
Mhm.
Coming to Yogesh's question about, can talent come up from channels like these. Now I can't talk specifically about TikTok, but to give a general example about short form content, which is led, which has paved the way for talent to come across and cross over into the mainstream.
Yeah.
I can give an example, which is of Superwoman, Lily Singh. She was on YouTube, and she is still on YouTube. But because of her fame, now she has her own late night talk show on mainstream television. Now I think that's one example of. Wouldn't you guys agree? I mean, isn't that an example of a crossover from
Absolutely.
sort of a new age platform?
And
These are some things
the
that, I mean, you won't be able to avoid, and you shouldn't
Mm.
avoid. I mean, if somebody is genuinely talented in
Exactly.
some form, and if you can definitely use that talent in some other form, you should go for it.
Yeah.
And that has started happening. I know of a few very successful web stars, rather YouTube content creators, who are going to be who are going to be in, say, an OTT
Films. Yeah.
platform show,
Yeah.
and they are going to even Mithila Palkar, for that
Yeah.
yeah, I was about to say that. Correct.
she's a good example. I mean, I know her. I knew her before she was this big. She used to be a theater person. I mean, she still is a theater person.
Mm.
But and this song that has gone viral, that Tujhi Chal Turu
Tala Turu
Turu,
Turu.
yeah.
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 So this, I remember hearing it before it went viral. So I'm one of the
that's
select few who I can say now that I had heard this and had given a
Yeah.
feedback that it's good and whatever it is. And it's amazing what has happened with her and how that has translated into success in films and so many other things. And I'm sure it
The
will stop at Mithila, and there'll be many, many more such examples.
Yogesh, to add to what you were saying, there are many TikTok. They call themselves as TikTok stars,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
there are many TikTok stars being called for making video songs, or so in the movie part is basically divided into various markets, right? So
right.
Nipun,
Mm.
probably the rural market, or all these movies which are fit for that market, people are using these TikTok stars to go and
Promote
promote
it.
the film, and they
Absolutely.
are being
Yeah.
influencers
Yeah.
for that type of content.
Yeah. Yeah.
And fortunately, the videos that the Panwala looks at is something which we can't even look at 3 minutes. But my Panwala will gorge it for like 3 hours
Correct.
with 7.3 million views on
Yeah.
Bhojpuri songs. They're amazing to see.
Yeah.
Unfortunately or fortunately, we can't create that. But there
Correct.
I
are
mean,
people
I
who are
think
creating it.
when you have 130 billion people, sorry, 1.3 billion people in a
Precisely.
country who speak various languages, there are so many cultures, the dialect changes every 100 kilometers that you travel in this country. There is an audience for everything, I feel.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah,
Shubham,
yeah.
because of Geo, and as a result of Geo, all the telecom providers had to slash their rates, and suddenly everything telecom is cheap in India. Suddenly there is so much content to be consumed,
Correct.
and it's rightly so. I mean, so I think right now people have started getting their due. The local talent which couldn't make it to Mumbai or any other
Yep.
city for various reasons. Now everybody can be a star if you have the right content and the correct phone.
Yeah.
So
One
you
question I wanted to ask the panelists, and maybe Nipun, you can start with that. Is like when it comes to starting off, like being a newbie in this industry, like how do we go about? Is it like solo, or is it like in a team? I mean, you did this like twice back in 2008. You actually like friends got together and built the Natak company. So yeah, how do you see this?
Oh, well, I think, I mean, this now the definition changes because of TikTok and because of YouTube. It is a film that you so you have to be in contact with people. You have to be at the right place and the right time. Luck by chance is a great example, and that is how, in a way, this is how things will work for films. Similarly for theater, I mean, if you're part of a theater group, it's great. It's in a way it increases your reach to the people. In a way, because of your team size, more and more people come and watch the play because usually the audience for the first show are the relatives and friends of the team members. But now when it comes to TikTok and YouTube creation, I knew of a few people who started off as stand-up comics,
mm,
and they are good at what they do, but the number of stand-up events is not that much, and of course because of the situation that we are in right now,
right.
they sit and write their own content and they're doing it. And this person who had started a channel like 20 ago suddenly has 15,000 subscribers on YouTube and he's
Yeah.
doing good. So I think it's right now the main thing should happen is should remember or rather decide what he wants. If the focus is only on getting famous, come what may, then you have so many avenues and go ahead, do whatever you
Mm,
want. But I mean, there are a few people who have decided that no, I want to be a film star. Then that is the way they should work. If they are okay with being a YouTube star or TikTok, which I mean, it might sound demeaning when I say okay with. I don't mean it that way. But I mean,
mm.
sure, that can be the way to go. Absolutely.
Nice. Varun, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I get a lot of questions in terms of in terms of starting getting into this industry. Should we, especially because I went to film school, I get a lot of questions from people from friends asking me whether we should go to film school, which film school, and all those sorts of questions. And from out of my experience, what I can say is that if you're a fresh grad and you're interested in filmmaking, I would say it's great time to get some real work experience first
Mm.
right now, because content has diversified. Now it's not just films. There's so many things going on. Really, literally get filmmaking experience even if, like in other avenues. So it's better to get your feet wet for think in that kind of a thing. Also, are you guys able to hear me clearly?
Yeah, the last part we couldn't. If you can repeat that, yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. So basically, it's better that somebody who wants to, before choosing film school, if you can get some real work experience working under somebody, volunteering for a film shoot, helping out some people who are, maybe like, volunteer with some company that's making good content, and get your feet wet and understand how things work. And maybe if you like it, then build your contacts and then decide at a particular, maybe after 1 or 2 years, like where do you go from there, instead of jumping in directly into education. Because I mean, that is also a good way. But again, it's not for everybody, because it can be very expensive. Also, you have to consider where are you going for education. Like for example, when I came to the US, I was not set on studying there. Oh, sorry. So I was not set on working there. So moving around was kind of detrimental to me in terms of like, it's always better that you go to a place where you want to end up being there. Like you build a base, you make friends, you create a contact, you create a network, and then you base your entire career on that. So it's always good to start at that place, or if you move to a place, stay there, so that you can build off of that. And it's very important like that when it comes to considering education. It's very important to consider that. So for somebody who wants to go into mainstream and filmmaking, and who knows that he wants to make Indian content, who knows that he wants to work in Bollywood, then I would say go to Mumbai. Don't think about anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that answers.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, thanks for bringing that point. I mean, that's kind of motivating as well.
I learned this the hard way. I mean, I don't regret how much the money and time I've spent on my education. I learned a lot in terms of in terms of cultures and just filmmaking. I learned from the best in California. I worked at great companies and great people there. But again, I came back to the art of editing, which I could have easily gained from probably working under an editor in Mumbai also.
I think which you did. You
Well,
worked with the best.
I did in a way. So I made it happen in a way for me. It's just that it came at a cost of time and money.
Correct.
That's all.
Nice. Shubham, how would you suggest or convey this to someone who wants to get into mobile storytelling, or just maybe building something what you're doing right now?
Yeah. So what we really focus on, like we just train anyone, and what we really focus is the trend of trends will go soon. Like creating content of dance, creating content of comedy. Like if you are not a comedian and you want to create comedy because it is trending right now, suppose anything which is trending and you are just creating content on that is going to die. And this is fast forward because of this COVID thing, because a lot of content is coming and people are now aware. As the example of Pan Chopra, he is also aware of what kind of content I want to consume. So at the same time, if you're starting to create content and if you want to start something, you have everything, you have mobile, you have idea, but just go through the ideas. Just don't go through a trend. Like suppose the trend is going, I will create content on this. Don't focus on that. I think Nipun will also agree with me. Like the same way acting earlier used to have been, now the actors who are like really talented are shining a lot because of their talent there, because they have worked on their acting skills and craft. And they are getting their dues now because of I just saw, I don't know if it is in Netflix, I saw a movie called Lift today, and I think it is I never imagined this type of movie on theaters or anywhere I've watched, but because of Netflix, I'm watching this. The same way the small content creators who are just creating for TikToks, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, they also have to be very, very should start working on their craft. Anything which they're doing, anything. If they just want to create calligraphy content, they have to create content which is very good at calligraphy level. So they have to keep constantly create content and create meaningful content. I think that will sell in the next 6 months. The views will not count. Whoever was creating meaningful content will sell.
Yeah.
The trend of meaningful content is going to, because people are we are consuming a lot of content, and this COVID is changing a lot of things on social media, especially.
think one question I will now ask is, when you've got so many different platforms to work on and actually express your craft, right? How do you find the art of remaining absolutely focused?
Yeah, it again depends. The people, if you are if you want to create content for YouTube, there's a strategy for YouTube. The same way a TikToker can't become a YouTuber can't become a famous TikToker. The same way an actor can't become a famous TikToker. He's just replicating his fame. Like Shilpa Shetty. Like Shilpa Shetty, what Shilpa Shetty is one of the biggest content creator on TikTok. But she is not a content creator on TikTok, which I will talk. I will talk about Facebook. Because Faizu is a person who known for TikTok. The same way Bhuvan Bam. Bhuvan Bam can afford cameras. He can afford 6 cameras, but still what he's doing with his mobile phone. Why he's doing? Because it is so relatable that I also see, okay, Bhuvan Bam is doing this type of content. He's my friend. YouTube is friend. Yeah, that's why the same way what Nipun does, no one can do on like theater. I will not imagine Nipun. I want Nipun craft to show on theaters. I love watching Nipun's theater. No, I will not watch Nipun content on TikTok because Nipun craft is much bigger than. I think so.
Is that a challenge of sorts?
No, he just supported my thoughts. So thanks.
So
I was just saying trends will change.
Yogesh, just to add to the question that you asked, all these platforms are distribution platforms where content creation is one part, and how and where you distribute is another part that every content creator or storyteller has to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, it has happened so that, I am a TikTok star, I am a YouTube star, because that platform, that distribution media gave me that fame or gave me that
Correct.
exposure. My content creation still remains what it should be, ideally. So I can make a 20-minute long YouTube video and chop it into a 60-second TikTok also for my distribution on TikTok. Like the way Instagram, Facebook, and other platforms are there. That doesn't change what I am talking in the storytelling part. So we just have to zoom out of the distribution, because as we have seen, Snapchat goes, TikTok comes in, TikTok goes, some another platform is going to come.
Yes.
Yeah.
Point is, if your content is strong, if your content has value and it has a longevity to it, then these mediums really don't matter. But at the same time, we have to keep in mind what mediums are working, and we have to be there.
Yeah.
Like
Understood.
I can't be promoting a film on a Nukkad platform if I have to use Netflix. Just an example.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Right. Thanks.
Great. I think have a few questions here. We can take questions. If the audience wants to ask questions right now, this is the chance.
Can I ask a question, Pratik?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Nipun and even probably Varun can add. How are you looking at the censorship part because of the mediums are changing?
I'm sorry.
Soham, there's an echo.
Is it the sound is too bad?
There's an
I
echo.
think
Yeah.
somewhere there's an echo. We don't quite know. I think if someone has like two things open at the same time, should be okay now.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to know your view on the censorship part because of the changing platforms that are there, like on Netflix and versus the cinema hall or TV channels. How do you look at the censorship part while creating content? Do you feel more relieved that you don't have censorship, or it doesn't really matter because you want to say what you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, it is a relief. I am not a big fan of censorship at all. I really feel that there should be a certification and not a censorship, wherein and you should put all the trust you can in the audience, wherein you would believe them not to react to something adversely. But I think I mean, that's not to be in our country. I think we are going to go ahead with censorship for a long time, for the foreseeable future. Having said this, I do like the fact that there is no censorship on the web platform, and it does give you a lot of freedom for sure. And whereas when you're making a film which you know is being made for a theatrical release, you tend to write some things differently because
Yes.
you know this is going to be censored, or there are even things wherein you try and cut down on the smoking scenes because you know that this smoking is
Yeah.
injurious to health, plate is going to
Yeah.
come in. So yeah, all those things. Yeah, or even things like having alcohol, you can't show brands and they get blurred out. And it's okay if it feels like an advertisement, but it just looks bad as a frame wherein you have
Yeah.
everything nicely and something is blurred out. The audience member looks at, I mean, your attention is diverted
Yes.
to that.
But
So
that's right. That's exactly like writing fuck using an asterisk. Everybody knows you're saying fuck, but
yeah, 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 absolutely.
it's like
and
why aren't
and
you just
sometimes,
even saying that, right?
absolutely, and sometimes it gets so stupid, the censorship, that I mean, I have seen a TV show which had subtitles, and the dialogue was, "What is the sex of the baby?" And sex was star star star. So like they're just using find and
Whoa.
replace here. So
Uh, I wanted to touch on the same topic in a different light, in terms of like we all would agree that currently the whole medium of social media and mobile storytelling is very powerful, and with great power comes great responsibility. So although there is no official censorship, but I think some sort of self censorship should exist where you should be responsible for the kind of content you're putting out.
absolutely,
And we should take I mean, I can't quote direct examples right now, but the whole digital growth, I mean, that began in the West and Western countries with internet and everything. Now it's growing very fast in India because of Geo and whatnot. We have already discussed. So we should take a look at examples which are not like people that mistakes that have been made by people in the West with this
Yeah.
sort of power, and we should learn from that because we are at the starting of our story. Indian storytellers, our digital storytellers, are at the we are going to be we are at the forefront of this journey now. So what it's our responsibility to what length we go for those views, to what length we go for those clicks and for those subscriptions. And I can't quote directly bad examples right now, but if you can in your free time look at really bad examples from Western storytellers who have gone to great extents, very ugly extents, to gain popularity, gain fame, gain subscriptions, whatnot. And we have to consider that and put some sort of self censorship in our progress in this week. Yeah.
But
So Varun, probably audience will do that, and it has been doing, I think, because
Okay.
if you find like for example on Netflix you can curse, you can show n number of sex scenes and stuff like that. If it is not aligned to the story that you are trying to tell, people are not going to like it, and
yeah.
eventually the way all these platforms are going to pay the content creators is based on the viewership. So if your viewership
Yeah.
goes down and people are not finding value in the content, however uh, rubbish words or nudity is kind of shown, it's not going to help the storytelling.
yeah,
So instead of a self censorship, I think people know it well. I think we have a better, or rather we have a over censored thing happening, so that yeah, but YouTube also is kind of playing with these things. So for
Yeah.
example, I am working with a doctor. She's into sexology and psychiatry. So all the content that is directed towards sex education, which is in Marathi, YouTube is not monetizing that content because it has a word masturbation.
Mm.
Oh.
But she's talking about the myths about masturbation. She's talking about why to get over the habit, how to get over the habit, what are the questions in people's mind. So if that kind of content is not being monetized, which we are fine with right now, but all her videos are in Marathi, and they are getting good number of views on the channel, but YouTube is making that censorship, which
Mm.
many
Oh,
content creators previously also have kind of raised those issues with these platforms, where before even the video is live, they have been making it as a
Penalized.
demonetized video.
That's the new censorship.
Oh yeah.
Right. Pratik, do we have any other question at all?
Yeah, let me check if there are questions. Audience can definitely ask at this point if you guys have any questions.
I think that I can see one, but I think we can pass that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we covered so the question was about how you can actually create a web series and push it uh, like out.
Yeah.
Oh no, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we discussed about the quality of content, right? In terms of how the content is flowing, like with respect to, let's say, movies coming out, or big cinema adapting to, let's say, an OTT platform like Netflix, or other channels. Like recently, we saw Extraction come out, and I mean, I saw Extraction, and I thought it is like a cinema level kind of a movie, and it's actually released on Netflix. So what and there are other production houses as well. They are only thinking about Netflix or the OTT platforms, to be specific. So how do you see this entire like content play coming out? Yes, we talked about like the individuals who are throwing content, let's say on YouTube or TikTok or Netflix specifically, but the big production houses, and maybe Nipun can answer that question.
I think Extraction, as an example, I think if I'm not wrong, it was made for Netflix
Yeah,
from the beginning.
yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, it all depends. I mean, see, what has happened now is that we are a film loving country. I'll speak for India, of course. We are a film loving country, and we are making films in all languages possible. And everybody, except I think the Hindi film industry and of course all the industries in the south, most of the regional film industries face an issue with the release of the film. You can make a film with a smaller budget, but it is the release that really sucks out the life from a producer. So what these OTT platforms have offered is something like a boon to these producers. What they feel, I mean, suddenly you have something where you can just go and release a film, and people will watch it, and they'll get good money as a one-time settlement or whatever, however deal they make. Having said that, it is not that easy.
Mm.
Many offers that I have been getting since the past 3 years, since the advent of Netflix and Amazon Prime in India, and all these other Indian web channels that have come up now, is that you write something and then we'll pitch it to a platform. That makes no sense, very honestly. Mostly because if the channel is involved since the beginning, since the inception, it will make more sense because they know what is happening, and only then will they commission it. So most people don't really understand the difference between content which is bought by these channels and something that is commissioned by these channels.
Right.
So if it is something that is commissioned by these OTT platforms, it's a different story. And again, every other OTT platform has their own set of values and their own set of quality checks. So what you do for a Z5 may not exactly work for a Netflix, and vice versa. So
Right.
it is a different ball game. It is a new ball game, and I think everybody is adjusting to this fact. Yes, it is what I feel because of Netflix, and of course, when I say Netflix, it's a representative of all these channels. Is
Mm.
that I think these mid-sized films, they will be affected the most. The people will go and watch films in theaters, films which are a spectacle like Bahubali or something like an Avengers maybe, which need to be watched there. But something like a marriage story, maybe people will prefer watching it in the TV and not spend
Mm.
money on the tickets and go there. So I think OTT platforms can look, or rather, creators can look at OTT platforms as mm, as a good substitute and try and work that way.
Okay. Thanks for that, Nipun. Just one question somebody was
Varun,
trying
you
to
want
ask.
to add something?
Sorry, Varun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just wanted to quickly add to that that this along with the digital boom, we are also seeing the golden age of television, where so much content is being is made for television now. I mean, television as a television format. I'm not talking
Right.
about television as in cable. I'm talking about in general television format instead of movies. So what Nipun was saying is absolutely right. The mid-range movies. This has happened in Hollywood when digital came, when Netflix happened. That the big studios made the big superhero films, attracting the big audiences, and then low budget. Small budget content was already being made for television, for Netflix and YouTube and whatnot. The mid-range content was what got affected the most, which I think a lot of those filmmakers moved towards long format storytelling, and that's why a lot of television is happening nowadays. You see
Yeah.
so many shows happening, which is good. Which is but again, it's also sad that, like what he said, a marriage story, people will probably end up watching it at home, not go and watch it in theaters.
Yeah.
They will want to go for the big effects, and this subconsciously happens to all of us. I think even now, I choose subconsciously to just skip small movies going to the theater. Sometimes for the love of it, I'll go, but subconsciously it happens. You make these choices where you want to go to the movies only for the big cinematic experience kind of movies, and
Experience.
otherwise you skip it.
And we are yet to experience the VR part of it,
Oh yeah,
which
yeah,
is on the
Yeah.
which is on the banks of it.
yeah,
But it
absolutely.
has been on the banks of it for quite some time. I'm
Quite
not
a
sure
yeah.
when it is going to like be in your or on your head. I
And
would say in your
that's
head.
And one more thing that Nipun said, which I wanted to concur with, was that a lot of Indian producers have to worry about release dates. I mean, probably before so many multiplexes happened or digital happened, people didn't have to worry so much. Producers probably didn't have to worry so much about release dates. But now they not only have to worry about like the big khans, they also have to worry about the big Hollywood releases. They don't want to clash with the big Hollywood releases in India.
Yeah.
And now, in the post Bahubali world, can you hear me or did I get cut out?
No, no, it's
I can.
fine.
You're good.
Yeah, in the post Bahubali world, where North Indian audiences are aware of the great cinema that's being made, great commercial cinema that's being made in South India, and they are getting exposed to the South Indian superstars. Where now we are living in a world where in Maharashtra, which is probably a better audience for Shah Rukh Khan movie, Zero did not do as well as KGF Chapter 1 did in Maharashtra. That's an example of so everybody has to worry about release dates of all the sub industries, all regional industries. Everybody has to worry about release dates, not just Hindi producers will worry about Hindi dates. They have to worry about everything. And therein comes the digital part also, which makes things different entirely. Where if you push on digital, it's there for everybody at any point of time on demand.
Nice one.
Yeah. Also, I mean, it's a good thing that we can watch Spanish and French and other European films on Netflix very easily,
Yeah.
which is also a very good way of learning in terms of if you are into that field or if you are fascinated by that field. It's good to kind of jump in and look for very nicely made films on Netflix. On Netflix, I haven't seen many on Amazon, but on Netflix, definitely there are few films which are good.
Yeah.
So I think probably time for taking maybe one final question, and that was somebody trying to ask. I think this is a question that will speak to a lot of people who are starting off. If they've got really good stories, concepts, how do they really get heard?
Sorry, come again.
So, somebody was asking if somebody's got really good stories or concepts, how do they share this or how do they get heard? I'm sure not an easy answer, but
No, not an easy answer at all.
Keep
I think you
trying.
just have to
Keep
keep
trying.
trying. Yeah, there's no substitute to that. And many people do feel that they have great world-class concepts and scripts, which they might. I'm not demeaning them in any way. But they also have to realize that when they're approaching someone, especially who is a creator himself, he might be in his own bubble at some point of time wherein he's creating something of his own and might not have the chance to read something that someone else has written. So, but at the same time, I mean, by hook or crook, you have to go and meet a producer and whatever time you're going to get at that point of time, whether it is 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you have to make sure that you make a kick-ass presentation, have a great one-liner ready so that you get them by the hook with that one-liner. And you should be able to tell your story in one line, one page, 5 page, and then the entire the script. So you should be ready with all these presentations whenever you get a chance.
fabulous.
Almost like a sales pitch, like an elevator
It
pitch.
is a sales pitch. I have learned it the hard way, but it is a sales pitch. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a elevator pitch.
Just wanted to just wanted to add to that, and maybe Nipun or Shubham or anybody can correct me. Along with having a pitch or a treatment for your show or ideas, web series or whatever it is, or a script ready, what you could also potentially do is create a pilot for it. Because, like, I can give you a quick example. I mean, 10 years ago, to get all the equipment needed was difficult for us, beginner. But now it's not that difficult. You can create a pilot on a small budget with your phone also, because phones shoot great quality resolution images right now. I can give you an example of a US show, which is probably in its 11th or 12th season right now, called It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Nice.
It was, yeah, if you've heard of it, it was started by these newcomer actors who really didn't have much fame. They put together this home video style pilot 10-15 years ago, and they took this pilot to these big television companies, television studios, and got rejected by almost every big name out there, until one company said yes to them based off of the pilot. And today they have finished 12 seasons. And Danny DeVito is a very popular comedian. He approached them and said that I want to be in your show. And because he approached them, they created a new character to bring him in on the show. So basically based on that, what I want to try and say is that now creating a pilot is probably not as challenging as it was 5-10 years ago. You can. All sorts of how to do tutorials are online. All you have to do is get your hands on a decent set of camera and equipment, and I'm sure a bunch of friends can come together. Your TikTok family can come together and help you put together this little pilot that you could use as a pitch to somebody like Nipun, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
Great.
Awesome. I think we've covered most of the points. And
I have a question. There's a question.
Yeah. Do we have a question? Sorry.
Yeah. There is a question. What are thoughts about Nagaraj Manjure? Can we discuss about his storytelling?
The storytelling method. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Who wants to take this up?
I mean,
yes.
Everybody can speak about it. I think. Nagaraj
But I think it is too. Yeah, but it can turn into a very subjective discussion. I can
give a quick, very quick and short answer. Narendra Rasar has asked the question. I would say I highly encourage you to subscribe to a YouTube channel called Cinema Beyond Entertainment. It's an Indian channel by a guy called Vinit Masram. He has a video where he analyzes Sairat, and it's quite amazing. And I mean, instead of me explaining, it's better you listen to him explaining. He does a pretty good job of it. There's one more very good YouTube channel where you can explore where the guy analyzes different great cinematic pieces. It's called Every Frame a Painting. So yeah, just putting it out there.
Yeah, I didn't know about this Mastram. I will definitely watch it. I know Nagaraj personally. I mean, I have met him a few times, and what I feel is great is his clarity of thought and his grasp on his story that he wants to tell, and
Nice.
the kind of performances that he can extract from his actors who are mostly debutants is amazing, because you can see these actors working with other directors and they're not that good, but in his film they are. I mean,
Yeah.
he casts them very well, so he has this amazing sense of casting, a great sense of music, good edit sense. I mean, if you have all of those, I think those are the basics for any good filmmaker. So yeah.
Yeah.
Great
Also,
use
I
of great use
also
of
I
music.
also I like his ability of starting off. I mean, if you look at
Yeah,
Fandry, the production quality, obviously you can see a
Mm.
difference between Sairat and Fandry. Though the
absolutely.
storytelling is different, I know, but production-wise also, I feel
Right.
that it was a very courageous move for him to go and make Fandry, because many people get stuck at that. That if
100%.
Yeah.
I don't have equipment, I don't have a team, I don't have there are many fears which linger when we create content. I
Yeah,
mean, be
Mm.
it a film or be it a YouTube video or even an Instagram live, whether my background is good, whether my pant is hanging behind the door, if my
yeah,
lighting is good. Like, I think he has that vision of not looking at all these things and just going and doing it. And I
yeah,
think that is what we need in these times to
absolutely.
Yeah.
kickstart and just go and do your first step, because you had to do the content yesterday and we are sitting on today.
Yeah.
Nice one.
And hats off to all the creators and people like Nagraj who are coming out from nowhere. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Great. I think we've covered the basics. We've covered what needs to be done in these times, like taking a step back, learning as much as you can, getting experience under the belt, building your own pilot, project or whatever, and at the same time taking care of yourself, so you can go out and express nicely and with all the learning that you have kind of garnered in these times. So and in terms of the content, no matter what platform comes in the future, or no matter what trend we follow in the future, it all comes down to the quality of content and the
Yeah.
kind of hustle that you put in to make it stand out. So basically, it comes down to your own hustle, your own craft, and at the same time, the way you gravitate through your network to build your own credibility in this industry. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to thank everyone on the panel who's shared these amazing thoughts with us. Thank you guys for making it. I know this is we've actually overshot on time. But thanks for sticking through, and even the audience for that matter. I still see quite a few people here. So thanks for making it. I'd just like to give a
Thank you.
quick shout out to a couple of our team members who are actually supporting us build lockdown conversations. This, like I said, this is a place to unite and inspire. At the same time, we are not doing this for any this is not for revenue generation. This is not for profiting or anything. But Sagar Amle, who is the senior visualizer, who's actually working on all the artwork. He's doing the editing as well, pushing it on YouTube. And we've also got Akash Pawar, who's also
Yeah.
helping us on getting the social media up, also coming up with different content pieces. So thanks, guys, and keep inspiring. And yeah, thank you again, everyone. Keep
Thank you.
inspiring, stay home, stay safe. And this episode is going to be live on YouTube pretty soon. Search for Lockdown Conversations on YouTube. It's pretty simple to find. And yeah, thanks again for joining in.